Hello and welcome to my final reflection on our course models for learning design. My name is Lauren Curry and I'm looking forward to taking you through some of my greatest takeaways from the course. So during the analysis phase, the first phase of the ADDIE model, one of my biggest takeaways was really the importance of conducting a needs assessment and having a full understanding of the learners that you'll be working with and also the context in which you'll be operating within. For my project, I would say one of the challenges was not being able to conduct this needs analysis with our incoming cohort of fellows for this next class. But a success that I did, I was able to conduct a needs analysis with the current fellows and really get a sense of what navigating and creating these different benefit systems meant for them and where they still needed some additional learning. And then takeaways for lessons learned, really just how critical it is to engage all stakeholders in an intentional way. So not just the fellows in the project, but also my staff that will be supporting the project as well. During the design phase, I think I took away some of my greatest learnings, particularly the importance of objectives that are SMART, so specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. As well as objectives that are aligned with the instructional strategies and assessment. I really took this to heart as I was developing our modules and found challenges of having to really narrow in on the learning objectives and define and utilize the language I was looking for, but felt success when I actually created and defined those objectives and started to figure out how to really measure them. Overall, I learned that this process is and can be ongoing. Your first set of objectives is not going to be the ones that you end up with, and that's okay. And the analysis should really inform this phase of the ADDIE model. For the development phase, I found one of my biggest takeaways, Gagne's 9 events of instruction. I really loved creating my lesson plan during this time and hadn't been thinking about how I would have the fellows really gain attention on a topic that was a little bit mundane, and the importance of also stimulating recall. So one of my challenges to start was really designing that attention grabber and additional instructional strategies so the fellows would be able to really perform the tasks that were expected of them. I did find success in using that lesson plan tool to create an agenda that I felt accomplished those goals. And really learned that development is iterative. You have to kind of go back and test and see different phases as you go along. And I know I learned that while learning the Articulate Rise system and how I wanted to actually develop and create the modules. And that it's okay to kind of go back and make those changes. During the implement phase of the model, really the importance of project management and scheduling is one of the greatest takeaways, and how now that you've created the now what of creating a module, so having in alignment what your plan is for releasing it, the technical support that will be needed, the where, when, and how the modules will be accessed. Those are some things that I thought about, and some of the challenges that came up in thinking about that is how I would be keeping up with making updates to the modules as new content came through. So for example, changes in the healthcare systems fellows are able to access. For successes, really feeling the positive feedback and support from my director on the modules, so having that test phase to implement and having her kind of provide feedback. And then lesson learn how important accessibility is, and really thinking about that as you're creating any learning experience. I know when considering accessibility, I thought about how when we first release these modules to fellows, we as a staff will be present to provide that customer support or fellow support. Next, for evaluate, the final phase, I think my biggest takeaway was actually understanding the difference between evaluation versus assessment and thinking about how we would be assessing the learners and fellows themselves, but then how I would also be asking them to really evaluate and take a hard look at the content and how it actually informed their learning. So if having an understanding of the difference there was helpful for me. I also felt that I waited a bit to create my evaluation plan and wish I had thought about it a bit more critically from the beginning. But do feel that I was able to determine how to evaluate the learning modules I was developing in the end, and feel satisfied with the Qualtrics survey that I created particularly as the summative assessment. And then just really thinking about a lesson learned, how evaluation should be incorporated into each phase of the ADDIE model, and really having the couple of extra set of eyes to look through each step with you so you're not running through it by yourself. So moving into kind of my self-assessment and where I think that I'm at after this course. So I really feel as though I've grown in my confidence in defining learning objectives. First learned about the creation of learning objectives in the assessment course, and really liked having the opportunity to refine my own objectives in this course and feel more confident in creating objectives. I also feel a better sense of how to incorporate evaluation in ways that are more authentic and really align with the learning experience that a fellow or a learner is going through. Areas where I would love to continue to grow, really just continuing building my experience utilizing various instructional design platforms and technology. This was my first go at Articulate Rise, and I really loved it. But expanding upon that learning with things like Blackboard or Articulate Storyline, which are both things that I can access at Northeastern. And then last, to really work on refining my development and implementation steps, and understanding them as separate processes in the ADDIE model. So some of the connections that I made back to courses I've already taken, and I've come from an interesting perspective because this is my last course before Capstone, so I've already taken a lot of the course content that leads up to, that I believe fits really nicely into the model's course. So, and how people learn, I was able to connect back on the Myers 12 Principles of Multimedia Learning, as well as cognitive load theory, in e-learning as a collaborative profession. We did a lot of work with iterations and prototyping, as well as storyboarding. So when I was feeling a little bit lost in developing my own storyboard, I could lean on that experience with this course. And then lastly, the assessment and learning analytics. Summative and formative assessment, I already felt like I had a really strong grasp on. So it was nice to roll into this course and feel like I had already learned these various types of assessment and how crucial they are as we move into evaluating our own learning modules. So some final reflections, and as we move forward, I want to continue being more intentional on the design of instruction. I think this is kind of a no-brainer, but I think it's just so crucial as instructional designers, the importance of being intentional. I'm going to continue to push myself on objectives and assessment, and how they really go hand in hand. A more thoughtful needs analysis and stakeholder engagement is something I want to continue to move forward, having inform my work. And then I also am leaving with more excitement and learning new technology. I'm glad I pushed myself to try something new in this class, and I'm looking forward to continuing to learn more. So thank you all for a great quarter in this course. I think I really feel happy about what I learned and what I took away, and appreciate all the work that everyone put into this course. So thank you, and have a wonderful rest of your master's program.